Hello, everyone. Welcome to our first meeting for the AABHE Online Education and Engagement Series, our virtual writing boot camp. So for those of you who are attending for the first time, welcome. And if you're returning from last summer, welcome back. I am joined by my esteemed colleague, Dr. Jennifer Ellis, and my name is Shewanee Howard-Baptiste, and we're going to serve as your facilitators for the writing boot camp for 2021.
Welcome, everyone. Here we are, here in our loveliness. And as you can see here, I put full professor. So congratulations, Dr. Howard-Baptiste.
Thank you, Dr. Ellis.
It was one of her goals last year. So you too can get out of the associate to full professor writing group and go to whatever group she wants to join this.
Looking forward to it.
She's graduated from that group. So and hopefully more of us will have title changes as well next year. So we actually have 6 major categories for our groups. And then as you can see, some of these groups have multiple groups, subgroups within them. So within a dissertation group, there are 4 of you all. And so I've tried to do my best to match you up per interest and kind of where your level is. If you need to be moved around, it's okay. So just let us know, kind of go in there, maybe after your first initial meeting with your group members, you may see that there may be a better fit for you and where you are, and you maybe just didn't reflect that in the initial registration form. And we have no problems. No one's going to take offense if you need to be shifted, because we want you to be successful. There are 2 groups for the assistant professor to associate professor. What I did do for the associate professor to full professor, I did merge us with the research professors, because we're all basically on the same level, have different, very unique writing goals. So it made sense that we just have one group of about 5 or 6 of us that Dr. HB may or may not join.
She will.
Or she can join the AABHE Collaborative Research on the Impact of COVID on Higher Education group, if she so chooses. There's a small cohort there, or she can join the administration and staff group, or the other. So there's a group for all of you. And if your writing needs have changed since you have initially registered, just email me and I will move you around accordingly this first week, just to make sure everybody is comfortable. You're going to have weekly meetings. I highly advise you just to check in some form or fashion, be it on the Google spreadsheet that I'll show you, or on your email. If you start a group email or group me, however your group decides is the most effective and efficient way for you all to communicate, do that. I provided Zoom links, and so if somebody wants to take, or whomever is deemed the leader in your group takes the initiative to figure out what that time is that your group is going to meet, and sending out an Outlook calendar invite so that that time is protected on your calendar. And then we would also advise you to check in on Friday, and check in may be a quick email to say, hey, that I was productive, or going on that spreadsheet and just kind of updating your hours on how productive you were. So you're just holding yourself accountable, and your group members can hold you accountable as well. We'll have the lunch and learn on Wednesdays for you to attend live. And remember, we also are recording those sessions, and we'll provide those links once the session is done and the recording has been rendered. And we're providing some professional development sessions that are focusing on your needs. And so each of your groups, they all have different needs. So we're working now is to make sure that your group is supported in a way in which you need to be successful during this time period. So please don't hesitate to let us know. We may not be able to accommodate everything that's on your wish list, but we will do our best to make sure that your needs are being met, and that your group is off to a great start in these 3 weeks of writing that we know will continue on beyond the structured portion of this writing boot camp.
So I was going to say, so just to remind everyone, as Dr. Ellis stated, I really encourage you to block off time on your Outlook or your work calendars. So whether it's 30 minutes or an hour or 2 hours, this is part of your professional development. So if your employer allows you to engage in professional development, during business hours, certainly include that on your calendar. So the structure will be, Jennifer's going to talk about how to track your productivity in that Google Sheet. And we also will have a midpoint and final participant evaluation. We really value your input and insight. And so that's going to help us to showcase what we do, but also find ways that we can improve.
And we look forward to your feedback, and we thank you in advance for providing it. The main purpose of having a virtual writing group is to have the accountability. We all write, we all can write, but there is a reason why we all signed up for this boot camp. And it's mainly because of the accountability, having a group of folks that we know will hold us accountable and will be our partners in this process, just to kind of get us over the hump of whatever it is our writing goals may be. We also have a space for you just to have a quiet online writing session. And so that will be included in your folder, where you'll know that this is a Zoom link. I can add on my calendar if somebody's peeking to see when I'm available, and I have whatever you call it meeting. Sometimes, you might need to be creative with how you name your meetings in your writing sessions, but this is your time. And this is your time that you're dedicating to yourself and your profession. So in the end, you will be better for it, as well as the institution that you work for, because this is helping you advance in your career and your professionalism. There is options for unofficial editing. We're looking to see if we can get someone who can do more official editing for you. And we're working on that to see if that's an option for us. It wasn't necessarily something that we had intended, but just reading some of the comments, I could see that some of you are looking for something more than peer editing. And we'll see what we can do to accommodate that. But don't underestimate the value of the peers that are within AABHE. They're just as good as what you would pay for from an outside entity. So within your circle or within your cohort, you may have an expert editor who is in your cohort. So don't shun the thought of having peer editing. And then we also have all of the above that is listed here. So we can, within what your group needs, feel free to create that structure so you can be successful during these 3 weeks and beyond. As I said, when I set up all of your cohort groups, I gave you whatever Zoom would allow me to do. I did the very last date. And again, if your group needs to be extended beyond that date, feel free to email me and I'll go in there and reset it again. Dr. HB?
So our virtual writing group schedule is an intensive 3-week program. So the first week is going to start next Monday. So the first date is Monday, June 21st. But I want you to make sure that you're marking these dates on your calendars. These are Wednesdays. So these are our Wednesday workshops. So that's June 23rd, June 30th, and July the 7th. So each of those Wednesdays will have someone at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, who's going to be talking, giving you detailed information about the writing process, about journals, about editing, about, how to have the best manuscript or final product or deliverable, whatever it is that you may be looking for. So make sure you mark those dates. Those will be the Wednesday workshops. And again, they will be recorded, as Dr. Ellis stated, and shared with our group.
And the other thing is, we do have a fun activity plan, the wine tasting. I'm trying to work out with the person who's going to be leading it, what date would be best and what place we could purchase the wines. And we're going to get, make sure he stays within a $10 to $15, $15 for a bottle. That would be like the top bottle would be 15, but we want to have a nice variety of wines, but not break the bank in doing that. And knowing that everybody's from different regions, maybe even selecting a place that you can purchase wines that are easily accessible to everyone to make it easier so everybody can engage in the fun. Okay, so this is our productivity calendar that's here. So this is your overall progress, where this is one way that you can hold your group accountable, that you can click and see, okay, this is, and it'll say your name or writer one. And so the formula is already built in. Only thing that you have to do is plug in what it is that you project. So on Monday, you would say, I think I can write 1 hour for the week. And you would put that in there. And then on a Friday, you'll say, well, I only wrote and at half an hour or so, 0.05, or whatever it is that you want to do. Whatever metrics you want to use, that part doesn't matter. Just a way for you to hold yourself accountable. So on a Monday, you would come in and type what your goal would be for the week. And then on Friday, you would just write your reflections on how well things went, and then maybe even what you plan to do for the following week. So this is just another tool to help you hold yourself accountable. But if thinking about a Google spreadsheet stresses you out, then this may not be the tool for you. You may want to just use a Google Doc or whatever tool that you need to do to hold yourself accountable. If it's in your Outlook calendar, when you carve out that time, in the notes section, maybe put what it is, the goal of that writing session. I want to focus in on this, whatever it is that you want to do, but make sure you really are intentional on how you structure each session, and making sure that you have goals for each one of those sessions. One of the things that I like to do is set a timer. And it may, especially if I'm in a stumbling block, so I may set a timer for 5 minutes. Like, you need to be very intense for 5 minutes, take a minute break, go back in for another 5 minutes, and just do whatever I need to do just to kind of get myself back into writing, especially if I haven't done it in a while. So whatever tips that you want to do, I might even provide a playlist of some of my favorite kind of just meditational music that has been helpful for me to kind of get me in the zone, some Pandora list and some other things of that nature that I have that kind of help me kind of get over the hump of writing and just kind of put me in a good space. So if we'll put a shared folder. So if there's places or playlists that you have on YouTube that would just be helpful, great writing music, let's help each other out where this is concerned. So some of you will notice on your on the master sheet for each one of your cohorts that you are a group leader. This is something that can be rotated. Some of you indicated, I don't have a problem being a host. The majority of us say we want to be a participant, but we're all leaders. If you're a member of AABHE, you're all a leader by default. So your role is not to lead the group in a way that you have to be all knowing, but just kind of help with the structure. So you might need to send the initial email to say, hey, everybody, let's meet. In each one of your cohorts, I did include a doodle poll so your group can determine which day works best, but that's the extent of what I'm going to do. Your group leader will say, looking at the doodle data, it looks like we can meet on this day, and then the Zoom link in the Outlook invitation would reflect that date and time. So that's the main role. And if you want to do a rotate, so you have a group leader for week 1, a group leader for week 2, and a group leader for week 3 to help share the love. And if there's some kind of way that you can be creative with the title and add this to your CV, let's think big on how you can do this. But just, and then that leader can also be the one who may be the one that needs to talk on behalf of the group. If there's some concerns or some additional needs of the group, they could come and email us and contact us to see how we can better serve your group. So those are some of the things that the group leader could do. Dr. HB, you want to talk about some coaching?
So in assessing the needs of the feedback of our participants for this summer, we certainly want to make sure that we're pulling in all of the AABHE professional coaches. So whether that's writing, whether that's research or professional development, we are literally strategizing right now to make sure that we're pulling in all of our professional resources through AABHE to make sure that we're able to best accommodate and meet your needs. So you'll be meeting some of those additional folks throughout our time together.
And we've gone over the lunch and learn schedule, and this is a little bit more detailed information. And again, as your needs change, feel free to speak out and let us know. And we will, Dr. HB and I can do some additional sessions or work one-on-one with your groups, depending on what your needs are, especially those groups that assistant to associate professor, Dr. HB can help those of us who are associates. And then of course, the dissertation group, this is all hands on deck because we want you to be able to join us in higher ed and to be able to be professors or whatever in whatever role in higher ed that you want to pursue. So we're definitely going to be extremely intentional on those 4 different cohorts of the dissertation group to make sure your needs are met.
So this is just a little bit of background information about our writing consultant. So we're really excited that next Wednesday we'll have one of the managing editors from the Negro Educational Review. So that is a peer-reviewed manuscript, or excuse me, peer-reviewed journal that's been around for quite some time. And so Dr. Barnes-Rowland is, her picture is there at the top. And so she is going to be providing key insight from an editor's perspective. So I'm really looking forward to hearing what she's going to be able to share with us. We'll also have Dr. Michelle Deardorff, who is the chair of the political science department here at the University of Tennessee, Chattanooga. And so she's also going to be talking about lit reviews and networking at conferences. How do you choose the right journal? So we really have some power hitters and key folks who are able to provide a lot of insight and strategies in terms of ways to improve your writing. So for example, my writing goals this summer, we're in the process of finalizing our accreditation for our public health program. And so I'm currently serving as the interim program director for the Masters in Public Health here at UTC. So we're just about 2 months away from having our program accredited. So I need to work on the completion of our self-study during our time together. My colleagues and I wrote an article that didn't get published, but we have a lot of that feedback. And so we want to utilize our time in the writing group, especially for myself, to finish cleaning up that manuscript so that we can resubmit it to another journal.
And I am on sabbatical and I have got to finish up my writing goals. My sabbatical has been interesting. And so I am pressed to get these 4 manuscripts submitted to somebody's journal. So Dr. Howard-Baptiste and I participated in the inaugural cohort of faculty and residents here at UTC. So we actually lived on campus. And so we want to really capture that experience, especially being the first cohort who actually lived on campus during COVID. Sure that is captured somewhere. And then from my own STEM education research, I have 2 or 3 articles that will be teased from current grants that I have that need to be wrapped up. And thankfully I have really good graduate assistants. So it's feasible for me to actually get all 4 of these done during this time. And like our motto, and make sure you really let this seep in, don't let perfect get in the way of submission. And so we are both telling ourselves that we need to make sure it gets submitted. It may not be perfect. And I'll just, as a caveat, when I look at I've been successful with getting National Science Foundation grants awarded. And sometimes when I look back at the proposals that were awarded and I'm going through it with the graduate assistant, I'm like, oh my gosh, this was in here. And because it wasn't perfect, the idea itself was great. They could see past, 1 or 2 grammar errors or something that was off-centered. That really confirmed this motto for me, is that it doesn't have to be perfect, and to just submit it. And the idea that you have is enough. And if it needs to be revised a little bit, that's what revise and resubmit is for. Dr. HB, anything else you want to add?
I think you've covered it all, Dr. Ellis. We're really looking forward to supporting our membership. Next week, we had about 50 people register for this. So Dr. Ellis is the one who's working behind the scenes to ensure that you all are in a group that really supports your professional writing needs. So we look forward to helping you all and connecting and helping everyone reach their writing goals.
Thanks, and happy writing.